Progressive brings you Flowetry with Flow.
To count the discounts, safe driver, paperless, automatic payments, multi-car, so many a penny. Saved is a penny earned, you learn. The money you saved, it builds like a wave of dollar bills. The thrills, scary movies give me chills.
Discounts that help you save more for the things you want. From Progressive. Visit Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Blog Talk Radio.
And welcome to Strategies of Success. And we speak about a lot of different issues on this program, a lot of them business-related, a lot of them personal-related. Today's topic is kind of going to cover the whole thing because when we talk about our health, when we talk about where we are, what we could do, how we approach our health, that really filters into absolutely everything that we do. I mean, certainly if we're super healthy, we could do anything. I mean, that's great. We have all kinds of energy, and we can go out there and we can, quote-unquote, conquer the world. But that idea of health means so many things to so many different people. Obviously, if you're the super healthy, it means one thing. But what if you're somebody there with a chronic illness? What if you're somebody that is trying to lose weight? Health does mean something different to you, and there's different ways of approaching getting, quote-unquote, healthy, finding what it is that you could actually do and achieve. And one of the things that I have found with some of the organizations that I personally belong to is that idea of health and where it changes up quite a bit. And I do know that as much as we take those steps forward, as long as we're moving in the right direction or we're dealing with our own personal situations in a way that is good for us, that, of course, is always different for everybody, too, that, to me, is a healthy way of living, having that right attitude when you deal with different situations. So our guests today have taken that pathway to health to a level that is really, really phenomenal. They are based out here on Long Island in the Mount Sinai area. They have trained people in a wide variety of different areas of alternative medicine. But what I found to be very interesting is their background and how they approach it and how they collect different people along the way that are their trainers that use the facility and how they do what they do. So we're going to be speaking today to nurse practitioner Judith Grant and Dr. William Besman. Nurse practitioner Judith Grant. Judith, I want to thank you so much, Dr. Besman, for joining us. I think it really is phenomenal what you do.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yes, good morning to you, and I hope everyone had a wonderful and safe 4th of July yesterday.
That's safe and happy, healthy 4th of July, you're right.
Yeah, we have been in practice now with Pathways to Health. We opened up 20 years ago, but my husband and I, Dr. Besman and I, have been in healthcare for over 35 years each, not collectively. And we do have backgrounds that normally you wouldn't see in the alternative healthcare field. I am a nurse practitioner. My career was from both oncology cancer patients to geriatric medicine through the years. And William?
I'm a clinical nurse specialist and was originally trained all the traditional ways as a psychotherapist and was in private practice. And over time, I found that just talk therapy, although it could be helpful for people, but it didn't really change their lives, and it didn't change them at the cellular level. And that began my search for a way of helping people that can empower them instead of disempowering them, is how I saw it. Very often they had to be put on medication, and that's fine, and we walk both fences, the best of both worlds. But I saw that they'd be put on, let's say, an antidepressant, and that would work for a little while. Then after a while, that didn't work. They had to add more to it. They increased the dosage. They had to add another medication to it and so forth. And I noticed that people were being blocked from their feelings, and that could help them get through some crises. But for long-term care, there were side effects and really not a good quality of life. So I was fortunate to be led down a path. I actually went kicking and screaming. I didn't really want to get training in the deeper mind, but my buddy, a psychologist, said we needed some training and in hypnosis. And my only experience with hypnosis at that time was to be hypnotized on my honeymoon, and I entertained 200 people, but I couldn't see what that had to do with serious self-empowerment or helping people make changes in their life. But it opened a door that helped me understand more about how we as humans work, how we are programmed already to so much negative thinking. And when we can reach that deeper mind and help them change that thinking, it can change their life. And that was the basis of my work in this field, or started my journey, that led down to many other paths as well. But I'm going to let Judith talk a little bit and how we came together and what our goal was and what I believe we're accomplishing.
Yeah, you know what I've found? That many people use the word personal empowerment. Well, what does that mean? It has to have a deeper meaning or explanation. And I dealt with patients in a different way. I dealt with people that were in chronic pain, chronic disease. Very often their lives changed in a heartbeat. When it dealt with the aging population, it was people that were absolutely fully cognitive. They didn't have a dementia or anything, but they had to start to adjust to their changing bodies. And what happens, I think, in life in general for so many of us, life is complicated. We have our personal relationships, and especially for people that are in their own businesses, running their own businesses, professional people. It's always a balancing act of personal relationships, of family, the balance of their work environment, possibly business partners, employees, and such. And then just the other things that go down in life, like the traffic, taxes, ever-changing political systems and such. And people feel very often like a victim of what's going on around them, or they feel as though they're failing in somehow when they can't do it all, when they can't keep it all together, when they can't follow a plan or maintain a goal or a focus on a goal. And it's because we're complex human beings living in a complex world. So when William and I, and we had a third partner, Patricia Stringham, who has passed away, got together, Patty was an educator, and we said, there's got to be a way of blending Eastern and Western philosophy. It's not about throwing away medicine. This is not what we're about at all. But it's what else can we do to help people find within themselves sources and strength that they didn't know they have. And there's an old saying that says, we have all the answers lying within us, and that's what William was talking about in the deeper mind, our deeper consciousness. And I came into this kicking and screaming because I'm a very left-brain, science-based person, and even though the American Medical Association in the 1958, said that clinical hypnotherapy was a viable means or way to help people with everything from pain management to stress management to anxiety management to maintaining focus. So as I started to explore that, and I had met William along the way, and he opened those doors for me, what we've been able to do with people, and it's really a co-creation, is help people create and design the lives that they are seeking. Like you said, health means everything. And we could have all the money in the world, but if anxiety and stress or poor health because of a failing immune system secondary to the stress and anxiety, it really doesn't matter at all. Or if our own blocks or problems, limiting thoughts that we may not even be aware of are keeping us from reaching our goals, frustration levels can rise. And I've often said we're a wonderful species, but we're also the walking wounded sometimes, and many times we don't even realize what those wounds are. And I'd like William to just talk a little bit about post-traumatic stress and what that can mean to everyone, not just our soldiers.
Yeah. Based on what Judith is saying, if we explain a little bit about how the deeper mind works, or the unconscious, people talk about it all the time, and I found 40 years ago when I first went for training and starting with hypnosis, then expanding out in many different areas, but people thought and still think to this day that if you make a decision, that's all you have to do, make a decision, and you change your life. Well, that's a good idea, but it doesn't always work. When you look at all the decisions that people make on New Year's Eve and why they don't follow through with it, we often find that there's some unconscious blocks there that came from some sort of trauma or perceived trauma when decisions were made early on in people's lives, like I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I can't amount to anything, but yet they might be well educated, they might have a good goal and a good drive, but yet I found over 70,000 patient hours, and we stopped counting a few years ago, client hours working with individuals and groups, that that's not enough. And when we start to go into their deeper mind, we found some sort of trauma or perceived trauma where decisions were made about themselves, about life, and then a reaction was created. So, for instance, I remember many years ago working with a 22-year-old nurse who was very bright, was very good at what she did, and like if you were in crisis, you'd want her at your bedside because she was so good. However, in relationships, she was unable to stand up for herself. And those days was before cell phones and even before beepers. And I remember she would say she'd be sitting waiting Friday night for her boyfriend to come. At 7:30, he's supposed to pick her up. Well, it's 7:30, it's 8 o'clock, it's 8:30, 9 o'clock. This is a typical example. And he doesn't come. Then finally, 9:30, he shows up. He's been drinking, and she's furious. She's talked to her girlfriends already, even her own sense of self, and she can't stand up to him and let him know that she's upset. So when she came to me, I regress her back to where did this begin? And it turns out she's 8 years old, watching her parents argue, and as a result of the argument, in her mind, she perceived that it was her fault because she didn't get her homework done on time. That's her perception, but she never saw her father again. So an 8-year-old's perception was that if you argue, if you stand up for yourself, then people leave you. And she never saw him again. That was from 8 years old till I think she was 22 or 23. So all the talk in the world to her, all the self-empowerment that she was doing through her work, because she was good at her work, she was educated, she was working on her master's degree, she was attractive, she had everything that you would think it would take to be successful until people like this guy, hey, get lost. She could never do it because the moment she would go to approach a man like that, the 8-year-old would take over and she would freeze. So it's understanding how the mind works like that, and that's a traumatic stress. It's not the same as a car accident where you can't get back in the car, but maybe it's even more powerful because it happens in her life, and in every aspect of her life, she was not able to really stand up for herself. So when we talk about her healing and her moving forward in her career, in her life, personally, financially, we had to heal that perception from that little girl. And that's what Judith's referring to.
Again, what I believe. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say sometimes that might be harder because it's not something that you could point to. I mean,
exactly.
I guess after you discover it, I guess you can. But it's you get in a car accident. Okay, at X time I had had this situation, so it's maybe a little bit harder to deal with too, in that respect.
Yeah. But that's an excellent point because she had no idea it came from that.
Yeah.
It was, but when we did some investigative work in the deeper mind brought us right to that spot. And then once the story unfolded, we saw the limiting thoughts and beliefs that she developed from that, the reaction to it. She withdrew, became fearful, and it was locked inside her body. And that's the things that we needed to look for, so that when she finally healed it, there was no more knot in her stomach or in her throat where she couldn't speak. So that's just a simple example of the type of work that we can do, because everyone has some sort of blocks. In some areas, they're incredibly successful and confident because that's something that they've stored in their deeper mind. But on the other hand, there's always something that someone can freeze or make the wrong decision in a crisis situation.
Mm-hmm.
There is always something, and Judith, there is always something, and that's why I think it's great to be able to talk it out loud, to speak with, either one of you. This way you're not just talking to yourself, and sometimes when you get that third person that you are, speaking with in a wide variety of situations, it does help clear things, up a little bit. And what you're training, it's absolutely phenomenal. Now, Judith, they're talking about Pathways, the facility. There is a number of different resources that either you provide or that are provided through the facility with the different specialists and consultants that you work with.
Yes, there is. Thank you. I wanted to point out that a lot of people who come here, it's not because they are wounded or they feel that they're wounded. We have many people who find Pathways. I always say we're the best kept secret because these are people that would go to places like the Omega Institute. They would travel up to Westchester, or they travel to Massachusetts to Crapalo, or into the city to the Open Center. And we're right here in Mount Sinai. And we offer so many personal one-on-one services, both ourselves and our consultants, things like acupuncture and massage. We have classes on holistic nutrition, meditation. We have classes on stress management, nonverbal communication. Energy work. We do so many different varieties of classes and resources, and some people, in fact, many people, will find themselves here simply because they want to become the best version of themselves. They're tired of feeling as though they're living somebody else's life, and they want to be their most genuine, most powerful self. And we love that. We love to watch people that are successful, that are very focused, take that next level up, to see them expand in areas that they had dreamed of. There was a book written many years ago, If I'm Such a Success, Why Do I Still Feel Like a Failure? And I think it's because very often it's because we do things, we have outside activity, but we don't develop our inner self or our strengths inside. We have consultants that are very, very well trained and certified that work with us. We're very careful about who works in our facility and works with our clients. The fact that we have the individual sessions, we do Skype sessions, and like as I said, our classes, we have classes, one called Spiritual Journey Within, and it's simply people coming together and exploring their deeper beliefs, their deeper connections, the power of thought, and basically they come out the other side of that weekend class feeling as though they've had a transformation. So there's so many levels of what we're able to accomplish here at Pathways. We have a beautiful labyrinth that people can walk on, and a labyrinth has been around since the Middle Ages, so they were used as a way of a silent meditation, a walking meditation that's phenomenal, and we are going to continue to offer classes and services as needs arise, because we believe by our name there are many, many pathways to health, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually.
And one of the most important things is that we go inward, because I remember years ago I had an early training with hypnosis, and hypnosis is just a small part of what we do, but it's the base of the power of our deeper mind and understanding that. Some of the old hypnotists would say there's a professor inside of each of us. We now realize that that's the access to our higher self, our greater self. So one of the best ways to help someone become empowered is connecting them with their own divinity, with their own sense of self, where they're able to go inside for the answers, not be dependent on other people. So often we're conditioned to be dependent on other people to tell us we're okay. Am I a good teacher? Am I a good student? Am I a good son? Am I a good partner? And so forth. And we toss that out there with our behavior and then wait for the answer in some level. And here it's each of us has that opportunity to go inside to find that sense of peace, comfort, and inner direction. And that's what I believe makes us stand out between other healthcare professionals doing this, because 20 years ago, no one wanted to talk about spirituality when you're in the health field, and certainly not to go into business like that. And people told us we were crazy, but we had our own belief. We had our own inner guidance that brought us together. And the whole story is amazing. Patty was 400 miles away, but together, something brought the three of us together with a mission and a purpose, and that's what we are following, our hearts and helping people to follow theirs.
And that is a true pathway to success, is when you do follow your heart, and you're true in what you're doing, you're sincere in what it's all about, and then you know that you're delivering true value that's out there. And let me ask one more question before we start wrapping up, because I want to talk about the 20th anniversary gala event in just a couple of minutes. What I have seen with some of the doctors that I have gotten to know through one of the chronic illness groups, the Crohn's and colitis world, that they're taking much more of a holistic consideration with their patients, understanding how stress plays into it, how their own control and the knowledge of the patient with whatever the disease is and the medicines and different approaches. Are you seeing that also, that alternatives,
Absolutely.
we'll say, becoming much more accepted and embraced?
Yeah, 40 years ago when I was first exposed to this, I would have thought that within a few years after that everyone would have been more aware. But the systems move slowly. But now there is a greater awakening. People are seeking alternatives. I used to teach a course in alternative healing to the graduate nurses at Stony Brook in the 90s, because I wanted to expose them to what people were looking for, or avenues that they may be seeking to help them in their own medical healing and medical treatment. Because even at that time, I had many of the healthcare professionals didn't know what a chiropractor was, or a nutritionist, or the value of that, or the value of massage and so forth. And that's what I had brought into the more the professional arena. So now, yes, you're right. They're more aware now, thank goodness, and able to address it better.
Yeah. You know, we have been given so many things naturally to help our bodies heal. And again, like I said in the beginning, this isn't about throwing away medicine. This isn't an anti-medicine. This is complementary medicine. Why shouldn't we, as intelligent beings, access every avenue of complementary medicine to work with whatever medical routine that we're on to get the best results? And nutrition and good antioxidants and stress, de-stressing the body. There's a science called psychoneuroimmunology that has really opened the doors, and that opened up, I think it was in the 1970s, and it's expanding, that there is a real scientific path between the mind and the body, and chemicals that the mind releases, the brain releases in response to stress. And stress reduces the immune system. When the immune system is compromised, it's harder for the body to heal with or without medicine. So, yes, it is much more accepted. And when it comes to chronic disease, like you're speaking about, like with the Crohn's, colitis, and such, I have seen remarkable changes in our clients when they embrace a full range of complementary medicine along with what they're currently doing and empower themselves to heal. Absolutely.
Yeah, I've seen that too. And with these discussions and some of the interviews I've done with them also, it's really great. And they're seeing it at their patient level too, where there's a benefit to everybody. And it gives everybody that feeling that they are more in control of their situation as best as can possibly be. And that's a confidence builder. Right there,
Absolutely.
Right then and there. Yeah, right. And if anything, that from that holistic standpoint, the whole standpoint, that is certainly fantastic. All right, you two, I really appreciate your involvement in this group to creating Pathways to Health and what it is that it stands for. You know, it's a tremendous resource, and you're right, it is a very good secret of It wasn't until recently that I found out about it, and I live no more than about 10 miles away. So it's great, and I'm honored to be a part of the whole thing, and to help sponsor the gala event that is coming up. So thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Besman and Judith Graham.
Thank you so much for having us, and it was a pleasure meeting with you, and I hope to get to know you a little bit better.
Absolutely. You certainly will. We'll spend much more time together. All right, here we go. Gino Venerasso,
yes,
who has been a driving force behind this gala event that is coming up August 11th. So, Gino, I think it's great, the event in and of itself, everything that everybody stands for. I know the folks that are going to be participating in this thing, got that great we can do kind of an attitude with a realistic approach, to different things. And I'm so glad to find out that you're participating and helping out in such a way.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. I mean, it's an honor to be involved with such a great center that believes in, helping people, not just in our community on Long Island, but throughout the world. Long Island, we all live in a place and a time right now where I feel like people sacrifice their health, for success. And it's important to go back and, take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you really can't take care of, anybody else, and you can't necessarily be that productive in the world. So, Pathways, to me, I'm aware of all the good that they do for people, for the community. So when they mentioned that they're looking to have a 20th year anniversary, I mean, it's a no-brainer, not only to get involved to help further propagate what they do, but also, through the event, we're actually going to be shedding light on the Purple Heart campaign, which helps Long Island homeless veterans have a place to live. What that not-for-profit does is they take over zombie homes throughout the island, and they renovate them and award them to different veterans. So, the event is a no-brainer, and really it's an opportunity for, anybody within the health and wellness community, to be involved and showcase themselves, but also get on board with some of the, innovative things that Pathways is doing, at the same time. And anybody who listens to this, should take an afternoon out and really visit the beautiful Heart Garden. I mean, the place is magical. Between the labyrinth, they have an international peace pole there, which is one out of 200 in the entire world. They're doing a lot of great things there. So, like you said, it's a hidden gem, and hopefully through this event, I think a lot of people, will be able to experience it.
And for people to find out about the event, what would be the website, Facebook? Where would they be going?
Yeah, so the event itself is actually right on Eventbrite. So for people that want to learn a little bit more, about the event, they can visit www.gala, which is GALA, intheheartgarden.eventbrite.com. There they'll see some of the guest speakers that will be speaking. They can learn more about Dr. Desmond and Judith, and they could see the online event prospectus. And now we're asking people if I'm a vendor, they could simply set up a vendor table and be able to showcase themselves and talk about what they also do, on a business level professionally.
Great. Hey, Gino, again, thanks for getting behind this one and being such a part of it. I think it's great, bringing a lot of the resources together on Long Island for everybody that is really trying to help others improve whatever their quality of life is and make sure that they're a bit more in control. And, there's just no better place to do this than actually at Pathways to Health. What they stand for, what this event is going to be like, and the amount of support, that will be there, the facility itself. It's all terrific. So, again, thank you so much. Thanks, Gino.
Thank you, Brian. And thank you, Dr. Desmond and Judith.
Okay, thank you so much for having us, and we've got a lot of talent here on Long Island, and we hope to make this a great event, including networking with like-minded people.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
And thank you.
All right, to find out more information about Pathways to Health, you go right to the website. It's pathwaystohealth.com. There's a good amount of information there, including a blog. You'll find out information about some of the classes that they offer, the certification, different career paths, and a lot of great information about how you can continue to improve. And you certainly want to attend this event. So you want to go to Eventbrite on that. And the website for the Gala in the Heart Garden is www.galaintheheartgarden.eventbrite.com. Look, my name is Brian Cohen. This has been Strategies of Success. And I could tell you, we do need to take control of ourselves, whether it's our business world, our personal world, family, and our health. There are certainly different ways about doing it. Yeah, life is tough sometimes because you got to balance everything together, but there is ways to do it. And if you want to speak to somebody about how you can really take control of your life, go to Pathways to Health. That's a great place to get started. Have a great week, and we'll see you August 11th, 2016, at the Pathways to Health Gala in the Heart Garden, their 20th anniversary.
Fios is not cable. We're wired differently, which means you can get the fastest internet available with equal upload and download speeds from 50 to 500 megs. So you can upload 200 photos before your favorite song is finished. Click the ad and switch to Fios today to get our best offer ever. Fios is not cable. We're wired differently, which means you can get the fastest internet available with equal upload and download speeds from 50 to 500 megs. So you can upload 200 photos before your favorite song is finished. Click the ad and switch to Fios today to get our best offer ever.